There are 5 simple steps that any Christian can take to quit binge eating, regardless of your age, your gender, or circumstance. My name is Blessing. I'm a former binge eater, and I'm now a binge eating coach, helping Christians from all over the world to quit binge eating. And I'm telling you, there are 5 simple steps that you can take today, and I'm going to teach you what they are, how to apply them in your unique situation, and most importantly, how to make sure that you don't fail. So step number one. So imagine I put you in a room with nothing but a cake. I mean with nothing but cakes. And then I say to you, don't eat a cake. Well, if I wait for long enough, what's going to happen? You're going to eat the cake because your environment is constantly screaming at you to eat a cake. So the same thing for you right now. It's very hard to not binge eat when your environment is constantly screaming at you to binge eat. And that is why the first step is you need to fix your environment so that your environment is not constantly screaming at you to binge eat. And you do this by cleaning your house, removing open packets of biscuits everywhere, removing food everywhere so that your brain is not constantly seeing and thinking about food. And you doing this alone is going to make it, I would say, 10 times easier to quit binge eating. It's that important. Let's go on to step number 2. The problem with Christians who struggle with binge eating is they don't know how to control themselves. Let me explain to you this again using a whiteboard. So I have this whiteboard right here, and I want you to remember the last time you binged, and I want you to remember what happened. If you are anything like the past version of me, this is what happened. You were sitting here, say you're smiling, doing whatever you are doing, and then you get the urge to binge it. You get an urge, then the next thing you know, you are eating. Then the next thing, you are feeling shame. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say that it's out of focus. And the next thing you know, you are feeling shame. And the painful thing is that when you get the urge to eat and you eat, you feel like you're on autopilot, like your brain just responds automatically between getting the urge and eating. But this is very dangerous. Like imagine you're in a car and every time it thinks that there is someone in the car, it just drives automatically. Oh, that car would be very dangerous. And your brain is acting like that car. Every time it senses an urge to binge, it just automatically goes and eats. And that's a dangerous brain, and we don't want such type of a brain in our mind. So that is why the second step is you need to develop what's called mind. Develop what's called mind control, which is you need to learn how to control your mind. And the best way that I found to do that is to do something called meditation. It's like the easiest and scientifically proven way to train yourself to get the edge and then to develop the strength to control your mind, so that next time you get the edge, you don't feel like you're under control, but you can actually pause before you go into it. But if you only learn how to control your mind and you don't apply this third step, then probably not going to help you. I know this because I'm speaking from experience. So I want you to look at this car right here, and I want you to just imagine or just think of what comprises that car, what makes it a car. Or we can go and get a lecture on cars, but we're not going to do that. Basically, a car is just made up of these separate components of the car. There's the engines, the body, the wheels, and all that. And all that is what comprises a car. And basically, the difference between a Lamborghini and a Mazda are the separate components which make up that car. So if you want to change a car, then you have to change the components which make up that car. And you can think of your life as this car that you have, and the components that make up that life or that car, your life, are your habits. And if you want to change your life so that you can hopefully get you to stop binge eating, then we need to change your habits. And that is why the third step is you need to implement new and better habits into your life. And now let's talk about something that many people are afraid to talk about, which is a relapse. And so a relapse, to get everyone on the same page, is basically where you make progress for a while and then you suddenly go back to binge eating again. And I'm sure you've experienced that many times. So let's talk about relapsing. If you ever bought a car before, I'm going to guess the answer is no. Who knows? Maybe you have a car. And basically, when people buy a car, they get this thing called car insurance. And car insurance is basically you are just paying a company money so that they have your back when you get into an accident. Whether it's a big accident or a small accident, you just want the car to know that you just want the company to have your back when things get messed up. You don't pay the company because you want to get into an accident, but because you are preparing for what's going to happen when you get into an accident. And basically, when you have car insurance and you get into an accident, you don't freak out because you know that you have a backup plan. So same thing for you here. We don't want to get a relapse, but we need to be prepared for what to do when a relapse happens. So we need to create a relapse plan. This is very simple. You just ask yourself simple questions like, what am I going to do after a relapse? How am I going to respond? What's my self-talk going to be like? And you basically make this plan step by step for what you're going to do after a relapse. And if you want me to go in depth about what to do after a relapse, then just comment below and I'll make an in-depth video about that. Now remember, at the start of this video, I told you that I would teach you how to not fail. So let's talk about that, because I'm someone who has successfully quit binge eating, so I know this works. I want you to look at this guy right here. His name is Eliud Kipchoge, and he is the first guy in history to ever run a marathon in under 2 hours. And that sounds like a big achievement, but here's the funny thing. He tried to do that while being sponsored by Nike, and they trained very hard. They gave him the best shoes and the support team, and he ran the marathon and he failed. Imagine being sponsored by Nike. They are putting millions of dollars there and you just fail. But this guy did something incredible. He went back to his home country. He got a bunch of guys and they started to train every single day and preparing to run this marathon. They were running in high heat situations, training hard. And a few years later, he runs the marathon and he finishes in 1 minute, in 1 hour, 59 minutes and 43 seconds. And he successfully broke the record and became the first person to ever run a marathon in under 2 hours. And this only happened because he didn't stop trying. And I'm telling you, the same thing can work for you and your situation. If you never stop trying to quit binge eating, then it's just a matter of time before you succeed. So you just don't stop trying. I know it sounds like it's a cliche, it's common advice. Don't give up, don't stop trying. Like you hear that everywhere, but trust me, this is like the best cheat code that I can give you. I'm not saying you're not going to relapse. You're going to relapse. You're going to feel like, what's the point? Why on earth am I even doing this? But I can't tell you the amount of times that I relapsed, but because I didn't stop trying, eventually I succeeded. And if you don't stop trying, you're going to succeed. But trying to quit binge eating over and over again without having the right habits in place is like trying to kill a lion using a spoon. It does not work. So you need to have the right habits in place, and you can watch this video right here where I'll show you exactly what those habits are and how to implement them starting today.